Welcome to our deep dive today, where we're going to be talking about, there's been some buzz around potential changes in the semiconductor industry.
Yeah, big shifts.
Yeah, and we have a rumor specifically that involves some really major players that, you shared some information on this, and I think it'd be great to kind of like unpack it and see what it could mean for the future.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to look at why this is all happening now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, what's the context for this?
Right.
What are the potential benefits and drawbacks for these companies?
Yeah.
And then, the big question, what does it mean for, consumers and just like the overall tech world?
Right. Yeah.
So you're talking about Intel,
Right.
they've been pushing really hard into this foundry business.
Yeah.
And specifically their Intel 18A process node, which is, their attempt to really compete with the current market leader.
Yeah.
In terms of like performance and efficiency.
Exactly. And Intel CEO Lip-Bu Tan has been very vocal about, wanting to make this foundry business a success. Yeah.
And the 18A process is really a key part of that.
Absolutely.
But, as we know, the big challenge right now is that they need to secure those big customer orders and then actually scale up production.
Right.
So that brings us to this Nvidia rumor.
Right. Yeah, this is a really interesting one. So a UBS analyst reported this.
Okay.
And, Intel already has some companies on board for 18A like Microsoft and Amazon.
Right.
But getting NVIDIA would be huge.
Yeah, they're like the biggest out there when it comes to chip design.
Exactly. Like, it would be a huge validation.
It's like a signal to everyone else that this is serious.
Totally. So then the question is, why would NVIDIA even consider this, right?
That's right. They've always relied on, other manufacturers for their chips.
Yeah. Historically, they have.
So what's the thinking here? What's going on?
Yeah, so you have to think about what's happening right now. Like, what's the environment?
Yeah.
So NVIDIA has been having some issues keeping up with demand for their gaming GPUs.
Especially with the, recent launches.
Yeah.
Supply's been tight.
Totally. And prices have been high.
Yeah. Which is, frustrating for consumers.
Yeah, it's tough for gamers, who are trying to get their hands on the latest and greatest.
Right. And then if you look at NVIDIA as a whole, like their data center GPUs, which are really important for AI.
Right.
Those are super profitable right now.
Yeah, huge demand.
Yeah, because of the, the AI boom.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that they prioritize those.
Yeah.
And maybe that means, less capacity for their gaming chips.
At their existing manufacturers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So partnering with Intel could help alleviate some of those supply constraints.
So it's about like balancing their priorities.
Yeah,
given how hot the AI market is right now.
Yeah. And then there's another angle to this.
Okay.
Geopolitics.
Oh, right.
So there's been this big push to bring manufacturing back to the U.S.
Yeah.
And using Intel, which is, a U.S.-based foundry,
right,
could be seen as like a strategic move.
Yeah.
Potentially mitigating risks associated with international supply chains.
Right. So it's not just about the tech side of things. There's a bigger picture here.
Yeah.
So if this were to happen,
Yeah.
how soon could we actually see an impact?
So analysts are saying that any deal would probably be for like future NVIDIA products.
Okay.
So, the next generation of gaming GPUs, which aren't expected until like 2026 at the earliest.
Right.
So those would probably be the first candidates.
So it's a longer term thing.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Exactly.
But it is a really significant development to watch.
Absolutely.
And I think it just highlights how dynamic and complex this whole tech world is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, these major companies are constantly having to like evaluate their strategies and adapt.
Yeah.
And, speaking of adapting, this deep dive is sponsored by StoneFly.com.
Oh, yeah.
They're a solution company with over 20 years of experience.
Wow.
And they really understand, the need for solutions that are robust and adaptive.
Yeah, in this kind of environment, that makes sense.
Yeah. And they offer, a lot of expertise in products.
Yeah.
Like the StoneFly DR365V.
Right.
Which is an immutable and air-gapped backup and DR appliance.
Yeah.
So, businesses can protect their data.
Absolutely.
In the face of all this change.
Yeah.
Which, it's happening all the time.
All the time.
And it's only going to accelerate. So
It is.
I think what's so interesting about this whole rumor is that it touches on so many things.
Yeah.
You've got technological innovation, business strategy,
Supply chains.
Supply chain resilience,
Right.
even
That's a big deal.
geopolitics.
Like it's all connected.
It's all tied together, and it really gives you a glimpse into the kinds of decisions that are being made at the, the forefront of the industry. So, what does this all mean for you, the listener? I think it really highlights how much this stuff impacts the technology we use every single day.
Right. Whether it leads to, more gaming GPUs being available or a stronger U.S. manufacturing base.
Right.
These decisions have real world consequences for all of us.
Totally.
And it's amazing to see how global supply chains and geopolitics are becoming so intertwined with
all one big thing.
The tech that powers our lives. It's it's all one big thing.
It is.
So here's a thought to leave you with.
Okay.
With the demand for computing power just growing and growing across all these different areas.
Right.
How many more unexpected partnerships and shifts are we going to see in the semiconductor industry in the years to come?
It's going to be interesting to see.
It's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah.
And, this is an industry that is constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And I hope this deep dive has given you a better understanding of just what's going on.
Of the forces at play.
Yeah, the forces at play that are shaping the future. Absolutely.
And this deep dive was sponsored by StoneFly.com, a solution company with over 20 years of experience.
Yeah.
Providing innovative solutions like the StoneFly DR365V, which features immutable and air-gapped backup, and DR appliance technology.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but it's
important stuff.
It's important stuff.
Yeah.
So thanks for listening.
Thanks for having me.
It was great having you.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, this was fun.